say I love that music. It doesn't matter how many times I hear that piece of music. It always puts a smile on my face. Something else that I hope will put a smile on your face. Yes, we are back together again. English Addict is with you once more, and we are getting ready for that big seasonal event. I'm sure you know what it is. We are coming to you live right now from the birthplace of the English language, which just happens to be, oh my goodness, it's England. No, we are back together, everyone. I'm in such a good mood. Are you in a good mood, Steve?
Why is that? Have you seen some of the presents that I bought you for Christmas and not told me?
I haven't seen anything. As far as I'm concerned, you haven't bought anything for me. So everything you do buy for me will be a nice surprise.
Hello.
Here we are again. We are back with you, some extra English Addict during the month of December as we lead up to that special time of year, and I hope you are getting into the mood as well. So before we do anything else, we are going to officially begin Christmas 2022. We have our tinsel. Here is the tinsel, Mr. Steve. Would you like the red tinsel or the silver?
I think silver.
Okay, then.
I think silver because it'll contrast, you see, with my blue shirt.
There we go. So Mr. Steve has his silver tinsel.
How exciting. How exciting, Mr. Duncan.
It is exciting.
Yes.
Because Christmas is coming and I have my lovely sexy red tinsel as well. So it is official, everyone. And as a way of welcoming the Christmas season as it arrives, here are some of our lovely Christmas lights as well that are outside the house. Oh, it's so nice to have Christmas here. We are enjoying it. It is so lovely, 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 lovely.
It's not dark yet, Mr. Duncan.
Feels as if Christmas has arrived. Christmas has officially arrived, and yes, for those wondering what we are doing for Christmas, well, guess what? We are going to be with you over the Christmas period. We will be with you on Saturday, Christmas Eve, Sunday, Christmas Day, and hopefully also on Boxing Day, the day after Christmas. Now, at the moment, we're not sure where we will be. We might be in Much Wenlock, in the square, or we might be here in the studio. So it just depends on the weather. At the moment, it looks as if it's going to rain quite a lot.
Yes, it does. Although they are forecasting another cold blast of easterly wind and possibly snow after Christmas. Not that I've got any plans to go anywhere, so it doesn't really matter. Although, Mr. Duncan, we were out last night. I don't know if you're going to talk about that.
I was.
We were, yes. I had something very interesting, Mr. Duncan.
Yes, but yes. Can I just make sure that everyone knows we are here for the whole of Christmas?
Oh, right, yes. I
want to make sure because there might be some people who have just joined who don't know. We are here on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day and Boxing Day, live. It should be interesting. Goodness knows what is going to happen. We might even have a little drink on Christmas Day.
It is Christmas. If it's Christmas, you are allowed, I think, despite what your religion says, you are probably allowed to have one little drink of alcohol. And I think we will. I think we'll have something, beer or wine or something. The thing is, I don't think I'll open a bottle of wine because we're unlikely to finish it.
No, we could just have a little beer together.
I think so. We don't normally just have half a bottle each.
We often say
push the boat out.
We often say at Christmas we indulge in something. So we don't normally drink alcohol. The last time we had a lot of alcohol was when we reached 1 million subscribers, and I got a little bit, just a little bit drunk. I did drink more champagne than you did, and I started to reveal some very strange secrets about my early life, including the romantic encounter that I had down a certain railway line.
I don't think we want to know about that, Mr. Duncan.
No, I'm not going to say. Wait there, Steve. Just let me get to the end of the sentence. So if you want to find out more about that, check out the video where we are doing it, where we are talking about our 1 millionth subscriber. And also we are drinking lots of champagne, and I am revealing some of my dark secrets from my past. What happened on that fateful night down that railway line?
Interested, Mr. Duncan. I'm particularly interested. I don't think the viewers are either.
I think they're fascinating. Well, we are public figures.
Which is why I should keep everything secret.
You know why? This is no, not nowadays. If you are a celebrity or famous, you have to tell everyone everything about yourself, but make sure that you sell those stories first of all to the highest bidder. Everyone is doing it now. Meghan Markle is doing it. Prince Harry is doing it. Even the relatives of people now in the royal family, they are all selling their stories.
Are they? Who else is selling their stories in the royal family?
Well, connected to it, relatives. So Meghan Markle's father, Meghan Markle's cousin, Meghan Markle's estranged sister, they're all selling their stories now to the newspapers. So we might be able to sell our exclusive story, and maybe we can make a Netflix documentary as well.
Well, you never know. Somebody might one day say, Mr. Duncan, you've got 1 million subscribers. You've been on here for how long? For 14 years?
16.
16 years. Well, that's even better.
You always get it wrong.
So it's about time that we featured you. I mean, I think YouTube should, because there can't be many people who have been on YouTube producing as long as you have. There can't be many.
Without a break.
Because there are people that, were on before you, but are they still going? I doubt it.
That's it. There are some people who have long since gone, but I've been here since 2006, and I haven't had a break in 16 years. So I didn't disappear for a short time, like some YouTube celebrities do.
Anyway,
can I say hello to the live chat first of all before we go any further? We do have some things to tell you about last night. A very interesting night.
Ooh, yes.
We had some fun and games last night. Very interesting. Can I say congratulations to Beatrice? You are first on today's live chat. Congratulations to you. I am waving my tinsel and Mr. Steve's tinsel at you.
Followed very closely by Lewis.
Yes. Can I say something to Lewis right now? Of course, we are talking about Lewis Mendez. Lewis, thank you very much. Just before I started today's live stream, I actually received a donation from Lewis on PayPal. Thank you very much, Lewis. It actually came through just as I was starting my live stream.
Does this mean that you can buy me a Christmas present, Mr. Duncan?
I will not be wasting that precious money on you. It is all for my lovely live streams and my English teaching videos. So everything you donate on PayPal will go into this. Nothing else. We don't spend it on anything else. Just actually today I have a delivery of new bulbs, light bulbs, coming for the studio because they don't last very long, and once they blow I have to buy some more, and they're not cheap.
All right, so you have now been, well, thank you very much, Lewis. We appreciate everybody's support on this channel for Mr. Duncan, so that he can continue to do what he does, which is teach English to many, many people around the world. This is beginning to annoy me, Mr. Duncan.
Why?
There we go.
You can't be annoyed by tinsel.
Tinsel next to your skin is quite irritating.
Tinsel is the most magical thing. This is the closest you can get to actually looking a fairy in the eye, because it's very similar. It makes a lovely shimmery, shiny light in front of you. So I love tinsel very much, and I like to put it on the Christmas tree. The Christmas tree, by the way, is up. It is flashing away right now in the living room. We might show it to you on Sunday, because we will be with you on Christmas Day, Christmas Eve, and also Boxing Day. I will mention it a few times anyway. Steve.
Yes.
We had a very interesting night last night.
I had something, Mr. Duncan, big and tasty.
Ah, okay. I wasn't on about that, but that is also there. You're right.
Yes.
I almost forgot about that.
I'll let the viewers guess. If I say I had something last night that was big and tasty, guess what it was that I enjoyed last night?
Well, I can think of one thing, but I know it wasn't that.
Maybe our lovely viewers will maybe tell us what they think it was.
So I will give you a clue. It was connected to something that Mr. Steve likes putting in his mouth.
Yes.
And I also like putting it in my mouth as well.
And you had one as well.
Yes, I had.
We don't like to be rude, but anyway, it's a joke.
But it's not rude.
I had something big and tasty last night. So did Mr. Duncan. Although you had more meat than me, didn't you?
Well, I had slightly more meat, but then
Yes.
I'm always a little bit greedy.
Exactly. So have a guess what it is that we had last night before we went to see, what would you call it, a show?
Well, this is something else I wanted to mention about last night. We did something last night we've never done before. And I'm
Yes.
not talking about having something large and meaty. I am talking about another thing. We went to see a comedy act.
Yes.
We've never done this. So there was a live comedy act featuring two rather well-known comedians here in the UK. And let's just say that their humour is not very politically correct.
I don't think Bamboo for You would have enjoyed the humour that we were subjected to last night.
Why not?
Because Bamboo for You has made a comment about the comments that a certain person has made about Prince Harry's wife.
Oh.
In the news, it's all over the news in the UK.
That will be another guy called
Jeremy Clarkson.
Yes, Jeremy Clarkson is a TV presenter, and over the years he's made a name for himself by saying outrageous things.
He does this.
So that's what he does. He does it. So he gets lots of attention, and then he releases a new book or a new TV show, or maybe he has a new series coming up on Amazon, something like that. But no, carry on.
All I would say, Bamboo for You, is that despite what the press are saying about the comments that were made, you will find that in the UK, Meghan Markle does not have many fans.
No, well,
let's just say that
it's rather polarising. I will be honest. There are people who are for her, and against her.
Probably 1% is for her. Well, maybe 5%, and all of them will be under 20. Everybody else pretty much agrees with what Clarkson said.
Really? Okay.
Not in the tone that he said it.
I will be honest, I don't agree with it.
Pretty much, or most people in the UK would very much like to see the back of Meghan Markle.
What we did we're straying way off from what we did last night. We went to see a comedy act. Two comedians, very rude, not politically correct, but also very funny. So I think sometimes if you say things that are slightly offensive maybe or rude, but it's also funny, I think you can laugh at those things. We always laugh at ourselves, to be honest. We don't take ourselves very seriously.
Absolutely not, Mr. Duncan.
Because life is too short. to be serious all the time. Sometimes you have to look in the mirror and think, that is so stupid and weird.
You have to be able to laugh at yourself. See, this is what's been lost in humour now, and people are overreacting to things that people say. You've got to be able to laugh at yourself. If you can't laugh at yourself, then really you're going to have a very unhappy life. Let me just pick this pen up, Mr. Duncan.
Oh, Steve, is that my Christmas present?
I have to fiddle with something when I'm on the live stream, and it's usually this pen.
Okay, probably best not say that again.
Yes, so if you can't laugh at yourself,
no,
then just because you make a comment about somebody that's got a certain skin colour doesn't mean that it's necessarily racist.
Well,
but now it's always interpreted as that. You see, somebody can make a funny comment about me because I'm white. I'm not going to think that they're being racist. But of course, that's just the way things have become now, unfortunately.
Yes. Well, I think we have to make sure that we don't say that it doesn't exist, because it does. There are idiots, but there is a fine line, I think, between that and just everyone having a laugh at each other. I don't think there's any harm in that.
No.
Anyway, we went to see this. We went to see these comedians. One of them, the first act that came on, decided to pick on someone in the audience.
Yes.
When I say that person is standing in front of you now, you can probably guess who it was. Yes, it was me. Because last night I decided to go out and I wore my red hat. Now, I didn't think anything of it because I just think this is a nice hat to wear when you go out. However, the comedian... Sorry?
Nothing. Carry on.
It sounded like something. It sounded like you said something.
No.
No? Okay. The comedian decided to pick on me because of my red hat. He said, there is a guy in the audience wearing a MAGA hat. And for those who don't know what that is, it's Donald Trump's followers. They all wear a red hat with Make America Great Again written on the front. Of course, mine does not have that. But he decided to pick on me in the audience.
He said he'd never seen anybody wear a red hat indoors before.
No, but he did make a few references to me being a supporter of Donald Trump.
Which, of course, is a valid point to make. I mean, he was a comedian.
Yes.
But yes, red hats are associated with Donald Trump supporters. But we wouldn't think about that in the UK.
But it hasn't got anything written on the front, so it doesn't matter. So this is just a normal, standard red hat. It has no political persuasion. It is not an indication of anything I believe in. It is just a very nice red hat. But this comedian last night embarrassed me in front of the whole auditorium, everyone there. And so I decided to say things to him as well.
He loved it. He liked the attention, you see.
I wasn't sure at first.
But then afterwards, in the break, everybody was looking at you. The audience in the break, because there was a break halfway through.
Yes.
And we went for a little, drink. And everyone was sort of staring at Mr. Duncan. I thought they probably thought that he was a bit of a right-wing nut job.
No, I'm not.
Because you had a red hat on.
Well, he had revealed it to everyone literally sitting in the audience. So I was slightly embarrassed during the interval, during the break, because quite a few people were just looking at me in a strange way, thinking, oh, maybe he is. Maybe he is a right-wing person.
But
I'm not.
It is slightly strange to wear a red baseball cap indoors somewhere.
Is it?
Yeah, it is. It's not something that you see very often.
But a lot of people were wearing hats last night.
They were wearing hats
in the audience.
But red ones.
That's all right.
Yeah, but I mean, it's fine. It's fine. I didn't think I'm used to it. You see.
There are baseball teams that literally wear red hats all the time for their team.
By the way, if anyone was wondering what we had last night that was big and tasty,
it was
a McDonald's burger.
Yes, a big tasty.
They've got one at the moment, which is now we only eat this kind of junk food normally when we go out somewhere.
I think on average it's about 3 or 4 times a year.
About 3 or 4 times a year. Usually when we go to see your mother as well. So maybe we'll repeat this again on Friday. But Yes, there is a particular burger. Shouldn't be really advertising.
I think
this.
people know the Big Tasty
Do
because
they? Right,
it's all
okay.
around the world.
Is it?
It isn't just this country.
Well, let's just say the name is very accurate.
Yes. It's a big burger.
It's big.
It's big
It's
and
very
it's
tasty.
and it tastes very good.
There's something like 1,000 calories in this burger, and it's got probably your entire day's allocation of fat, but it's just very nice. And now and then, I don't think it does you any harm at all. I must say, Mr. Duncan, McDonald's chips are not very nice.
No, that is the only thing.
Compared to KFC.
The only thing I would fault is their French fries. They are not very nice. I think KFC make much better chips.
Much better. They actually taste like the ones that we had last night at McDonald's were soggy and ghastly. I didn't eat them all. They were disgusting.
So we actually went all the way to Stafford last night, and that is the place where I was raised. So it was strange walking through the town late at night, and I was having flashbacks. My memories were all coming back of my childhood growing up in the county town of Stafford. So it was good. We had a very interesting night. We even went to do some shopping, some grocery shopping afterwards.
Yes. We went to a supermarket.
Yes.
At 11 o'clock at night.
Because it's open 24 hours.
And it was wonderful because I think I mentioned the other day, Mr. Duncan, when I was on, was it Tuesday? We were alone.
Yes.
That's right. I had been out in the car to visit one of Mum's friends, and on the way back I decided that I would go into the large supermarket, and I couldn't get in. I abandoned the attempt because there were so many cars queuing to get into the supermarket car park that I abandoned it. And I said to Mr. Duncan, and you said it as well, why don't we try at 11 o'clock at night on the way back from this comedy event? And it was wonderful. Straight in, no traffic, no queues at the checkout. Well, might as well have the shop to ourselves.
It was fantastic.
That is the time to go and do your Christmas supermarket shopping.
Yeah, especially this week, because the week leading up to Christmas is always crazy. There's always people dashing around, trying to grab those last-minute presents maybe, or maybe they want to buy some food for their Christmas feast, maybe some Brussels sprouts, or maybe some parsnips, or maybe a big, fat, juicy turkey. Ooh.
People are pointing out that Francesca has pointed out that in Italy, the colour red is connected to being left-wing. And of course, it is in this country as well.
Yeah.
Labour, normally they wear red ties. Red is normally associated with left-wing, but for some reason in America, the red hat, the MAGA hat as they call it, the Donald Trump hat, is associated with right-wing politics.
Yes, because that's their colour.
Strange.
Their party colour is red as well.
Yeah, so it's the opposite.
Yes.
Normally blue is conservative, isn't it?
Here
it is, probably in Italy. I don't know, but normally blue is conservative and red is left-wing.
And of course, yes, the red, of course, refers to communism. So that's it.
Yes.
So when you go left, it tends to be red. If you look at China, their red flag,
Yeah.
with the stars and everything else. So that's it. That's the reason why. But this is not political in any way. The tinsel as well. Can I just say the tinsel? This is not political. This is purely festive.
Of course, somebody's pointed out as well, Dudika has pointed out that it is reminiscent of Santa Claus with his red hat.
Yes, of course.
You should have said that last night. You should have said, "Oh, I'm Santa."
Yes.
But yes,
I don't know what sort of response that would have had. Probably no response whatsoever. Anyway, we are talking about different things today. We of course are normally here talking about the English language. That is what we do. You can listen to this. You can also follow the live captions. Don't forget there are live captions. And later on, after this has finished, there are permanent captions on this recording as well later on. So at the moment we are live at 28 minutes past 2.
A couple of people I don't recognise from previous live streams are making themselves known. Racer Prince Boy.
Oh, I think I have a feeling.
From India.
I think
right.
Yes. He's been on before.
Thank you. Hello. And we have Fira Jaffali from Azerbaijan.
Oh.
With 3 A's, or is it 4 A's? Is that right? We don't get many people watching from Azerbaijan, so welcome to you, and hope that you're enjoying the show so far.
We always welcome new viewers wherever you are in the world.
We've got a doctor in the house.
Oh.
Dr. Sana Iqbal. Are you a real doctor?
Oh.
There were doctors in the audience last night, weren't there?
Yes.
Because when the comedians come on, they like to sort of get a connection with the audience, so they sort of pick on people and ask them what they do.
They picked on me.
They did, and there was a psychologist sitting there, and there was also a doctor. Yeah, all sorts of people. Well, of course, we this is the sort of circles that we mix in. Intellectual sort of comedians with high intelligence, doctors in the audience. Yes, we can tell everyone about that, Mr. Duncan.
Well, I always think that anyway about comedians. I think you have to be quite intelligent or have a very good grasp of what is happening in the world. You have to be up to date. You have to be current. You have to be with the times. You can't be left behind, which, can you believe, Steve, that is what we are talking about today. We are talking about being up to date. We are talking about living in the current time, to be aware of what is happening now. We often use the term current events. So the word current means present, now, the things that are happening during this particular time. And I suppose, in a way, humour is something that is often used during certain situations and certain times, especially at the moment. So there are many people at the moment. I noticed this morning, Steve, a lot of people are being a little sarcastic towards the United States because they are at the moment hosting President Zelensky from Ukraine. And of course, in his previous life, he was actually a comedian.
True.
And now lots of video clips are starting to appear of him doing his comedy routines. And there is one particular one where he plays the piano with a certain part of his body.
Really?
Yes.
Is it his toe?
No, it's a little higher up. It's his dingly dangly. So there is, I'm sure you've seen it because it's all over the place.
I haven't.
But he's playing the piano, he's standing in front of the piano and he's doing this, standing with his hands in the air, but he's playing the piano. And we all know how he's doing it. And that's the joke, you see. So there are quite a few memes and quite a few things being said and done, some of them quite unkind.
You'd need to be in a certain state of arousal. Would you not, if you were to be able to put the keys down on the piano?
Yeah, that's the joke.
Is that the joke?
That's the joke, you see.
Oh, I see.
Because otherwise you can't do it.
Exactly.
Because it's all floppy. So it has to be in a certain...
Oh, I wasn't going to actually, yeah.
You can't
I think people can...
You can't play the piano like that, you see.
Yes, you have to keep abreast of the latest news. Abdel Kader Yaksin Yaduki.
I like that one, by the way.
That's a good phrase.
To keep abreast, to keep up to date. So those things are always in front of you. They are current. They are things that are happening now. You have to keep up to date. You have to become knowledgeable of what is happening now.
Yes, you say, I like to keep up to date with current events, or you can use the phrase, I like to keep abreast. I need to keep abreast of current events or abreast of the times. It just means you're staying up to date. I'm not sure where that phrase came from. But yes, keeping abreast to the latest news or what's going on around the world.
Another interesting thing about President Zelensky, he starred in a TV show about a comedian who became the president of a country by accident. And can you believe that? Isn't that weird though? So before he became president of Ukraine, he was actually in a show where he became the president of a country. And I think that's quite amazing. But it's not the first actor, of course, to be the leader of a country, is it, Steve?
No, it isn't. Exactly. I mean, we had in America famous idol from the silver screen, who was president in the 1980s. And I'm talking to try and hope that the name of that person comes into my
Ronald
Reagan.
Ronald Reagan.
Of course,
he was, of course, very close. They were like this. He was like this with Margaret Thatcher.
Yes, I think they were. They were very close politically, certainly.
Well, between the two of them, they were able to make changes with the Cold War, bringing a lot of things to an end. So even though I'm not a big fan of Mrs. Thatcher, I suppose in some ways between herself and Ronald Reagan, they did bring about some big changes in the world. But he was an actor, Hollywood actor, so it can happen.
Yeah, exactly, because the president of the United States doesn't have to be somebody who, I mean, yeah, as long as you've got a vision about what you want to do, then you don't have to, you give the orders out and everybody else follows them.
And of course, he was a senator for many years as well, from the 1970s.
Yeah, so it's not like he went straight into it. He went from being an actor into politics many years before that. But yes, there are no. It's certainly in America. There are no restrictions that anyone can become president as long as you were born there. I think that's the only stipulation.
And we've had many actors in this country as well who've gone into politics.
Yes.
So it's not unusual. It's not an unusual...
Glenda Jackson.
Yes.
Famous actress from the 1970s.
So it does happen. It does happen. You can go from the arts. You can go from the arts into politics. It does happen quite often. So we are going to look at this. Now, I think, Steve, because you're such a good co-host today, and I really love having you around, and I think you do as well, don't you?
Are you trying to butter me up, Mr. Duncan?
I'm not trying to do anything.
You're going to ask a favour, are you?
No.
Oh.
No, I'm not asking anything.
Sounded like you were buttering me up. If you butter somebody up, it means that you flatter them.
No.
You flatter them more than would be expected because you want them to do something for you.
No, I think it's good. It's a good time to talk about the subject, so you can hang around for a bit longer because we are talking about staying up to date, and this is something we talk about with ourselves, don't we?
We do. Yes, and since I've stopped working, I'm staying up to date a lot more with what is going on around the world because I've got time to look and read many news items on the internet. And a habit I've got into, Mr. Duncan, which I'm probably going to have to stop doing because I'm going to get myself into trouble sooner or later.
What's that?
I keep leaving comments on news stories because you can do that, can't you? You can. A news story comes up and there's a section where people have left comments. And I'm getting to the point where I have to keep reacting and leaving comments to news items. Now, I'm not saying anything rude or saying anything, racist or anti any particular people, but I am certainly venting my opinions.
Yes, you're putting your point of view across.
Putting my point of view across. But what concerns me, Mr. Duncan, is that those are going to be recorded for all time. Somewhere, someone is collecting all these, and they could well be used against me in the future.
Well, this is it.
If I commit a crime, for example.
Not just that, but we're public figures. We are public figures. I on Facebook, I have a little blue tick. So that means I am official. It's officially me on there. On Facebook. So you have to be careful what you say sometimes. So to stay up to date, here are some phrases we can use, Mr. Steve. You can keep in touch. I like this phrase, actually. Keep in touch. This can be used in many ways, actually. You can keep in touch by connecting with someone, you keep in touch by connecting with a certain person, maybe someone that you used to know years ago, and you still want to know them. So you keep in touch.
Which could be telephone, could be letter, could be texting. And that's what you say. You might meet somebody and then you might say, well, let's make sure we keep in touch, which means regularly send each other a message,
yes,
telephone, or something like that. But that's a very, very common phrase to use when you're with people and you want to make sure that you stay in contact. Then you can use the phrase, let's keep in touch, or let's stay in touch.
But another way of using that, of course, is to keep in touch with what is happening. So you can be in touch with the world around you. That means understanding what is happening in the world. And there are many things happening at the moment, some of them good, some of them not so good. But to keep in touch with, and you used a very interesting word, the current events or the things happening now, the general news, the general things that are happening around the world, the events.
Yes, you can stay in touch with a person or keep in touch with a person, which means not literally touch.
No.
But it just means you will communicate on a regular basis to keep the friendship going or whatever that relationship is. And you can say, let's stay in touch. But as you say, if you stay in touch, you could stay in touch with current events. As you say, it just means that you read the news, watch the television, and you're keeping in touch. It could be with what's going on at work. I will stay in touch with what the wider company is doing.
Yes.
But it just means that you're keeping up to date with current events.
If you want the latest news, you want to keep in touch, you want to have a connection as well. So I suppose keeping in touch is also a form of connection. You are keeping in touch with the present day, the present events, the things that are happening right now around the world. Here's another way of expressing that. I suppose you can keep yourself updated as well. So this means that you receive news or you receive information that is happening or has just happened. And we all do that, especially on our mobile phones, Steve. Everyone now, they have communication from apps, maybe from the news services, all of the notifications that come through. So I think a lot of people these days like to keep themselves updated. And I think you do as well.
Definitely. I like to know what's going on. I mean, really, when you think about it, there's nothing more probably pertinent is the word I would use, or nothing more interesting sometimes than knowing what's going on in the present moment around the world. Because once you don't do that, the opposite phrase comes into mind, which is you become out of touch.
Yes, and we'll look at that a little bit later on.
Yes, so the opposite of being in touch is being out of touch. And I don't think, that's a lot of people as they get older, sometimes, I mean, not always, but sometimes, people's circle of influence, the people that they know around them, shrinks, and they just live in a small bubble. And a lot of people do this anyway, of all ages, not just older people. They live in a small bubble of just the people that they know, their own friends, their own family. And sometimes they don't really know what's going on. And we've all met people, haven't we, Mr. Duncan? And I'm sure you watching too. You meet some people and they don't seem to have a clue about what's going on in the world.
And sometimes it's shocking.
Outside maybe their own country or their own town that they live in. And most of you watching now are sort of people of sort of international influence, I would say, people that like to stay in touch with what's going on because we see the comments that you make about current events and you know a lot about what's going on in this country, in other countries, and people are making comments to each other about what's going on in their particular countries.
I think communication is a good point to make, actually. So quite often these days we use modern communication devices, modern means of communicating to keep ourselves updated. For those wondering what this is around our necks, it is tinsel. Tinsel. It is something we normally put on our Christmas trees as Christmas approaches. So today we've started our official Christmas holiday, even though we're not having much of a holiday, because we will be with you right over Christmas. We are with you every day.
Francesca says that Berlusconi, of course, was a president of, infamous, I would say, president of Italy, used to play piano on cruise ships.
Oh.
Didn't know that. So, yeah, again, somebody else from a background concerned with entertainment.
And he's still relevant as well. After all the scandals he's been connected to, he's still quite relevant in Italy as well. Very nice.
Yes. Hello from Peru, says Juan Bernal.
Hello, Peru. I hope you're staying safe there. Lots of things going on there. Some people not happy. Some people a little, I don't know, I would say disgruntled. I think that's a good word. If you are disgruntled, it means you are not happy with something. And there is a lot of unhappiness taking place at the moment in Peru.
Yeah, that's it. There's always something going on. I mean, we've got strikes everywhere in the UK.
Yes.
People have mentioned those in the live stream. The nurses, are they on strike again today?
I don't think they are today. But
they're back to work today.
We're having strikes, industrial action. Many people are deciding just before Christmas they are going to protest about their poor rate of pay.
Yes, and it's quite strange because the ambulance drivers were on strike yesterday. The people that come and look after you and take you to hospital if you're ill. And the advice from the government yesterday was, don't do anything dangerous.
Yes.
Yesterday they said, don't do anything dangerous.
Don't get injured.
Don't get injured. Don't drink too much. We were even told not to drink too much yesterday, because if you did get sick, then there wouldn't be an ambulance that would come along and take you into hospital. I mean, actually, that was one of the jokes that the comedians pointed out last night. Surely on any day, you shouldn't be doing dangerous things.
Yes.
Anyway.
I mean, as if there is a day when you can do dangerous things.
Yes. They were only picking people up yesterday in ambulances if it was life-threatening event.
Yes.
If you phoned up, and for example, an ambulance wouldn't come yesterday if you were having a stroke, or if you were an elderly person that fell over at home. The ambulance wouldn't come out for that yesterday. Yes. It's only if you're having a heart attack or a road accident.
It's fair to say also, during normal times, it is possible to have to wait for a very long time to be. I don't want any personal stories, Steve.
Well, not personal stories. No, I'm just somebody I know.
Well, that's it. I don't.
Yeah, but I'm not going to say who it is.
Yes, it's okay. I don't want to bring that up. I don't want to.
Well, I'm just saying the waiting times that people have 13 hours to wait for an ambulance.
That's it. Yes, that's it.
Yeah. Well, that's all I was going to say. I wasn't going to say names and places.
No.
I'm not that stupid, Mr. Duncan. Sash says they are from Pakistan. So we've got people from all over the place today. Pedro's here, apparently.
Pedro
Belmont.
Hello. Pedro Belmont.
Good to see you, Pedro.
Okay, Steve. Well, can we get back to our subject?
What's that? What's the subject?
Keeping up to date.
Keeping up to date.
If there is one person who has sometimes difficulty keeping in the moment, it's Mr. Steve. Don't get left behind. Steve, this is my advice to you. I think the rain is coming, by the way. Can you see behind us?
Yeah, there isn't it's raining. It's raining, yes.
Yes. Don't get left behind. It is possible because the world seems to move quicker. Everything seems to happen at a faster pace these days. And sometimes it is easy to get left behind, whether it's in politics, if you are interested in that. Maybe you are left behind with technology. That's the one, isn't it?
That's the one, Mr. Duncan. Isn't it very easy to get left behind with tech. It doesn't mean, you can get left behind. A child can get physically, you can get left behind if your parent forgets to pick you up from school. We're talking about a different kind of being left behind.
Well, this is figurative.
That's it, figurative. We're not talking literally.
No.
Personally, you're left behind because somebody didn't pick you up after a party or after school. This is about you not keeping up to date with something. Technology, as you say.
Yes.
What's going on at work, what's going on around the world. But yes, technology is a very common one. And I must admit, I've been a bit left behind when it comes to technology. Certainly when it comes to things like social media. I don't do TikTok or I don't really use. Well,
I think you do YouTube.
I know, but I'm on it.
You're doing
but I
it
don't,
now.
Yes, and your Facebooks and your TikToks.
Your TikToks.
And
your MySpace.
What's that other one where they put those short form videos on? Instagrams. I don't do any of those.
Instagram is the weirdest, I think. That is the most, I think, of all the toxic social media sites. I know a lot of people these days criticize TikTok, but I think still in this day and age, I think the most toxic social media must be Instagram.
Really?
Because, well, yes, I think it is, and I think a lot of people still have concerns about that. TikTok is something that is, I would describe it as frivolous, but they are now trying, and I think the people who are running TikTok have realised that they have to be taken more seriously these days. So now they are trying to introduce an educational front for TikTok. Can you believe it? So they are now trying to put TikTok forward as an educational platform, which I find quite interesting and slightly silly as well.
Isn't TikTok Chinese?
Well, it is
owned by Chinese.
Well, it is part owned. It is also part owned by the United States. Don't forget they have a big share in TikTok.
Well, we've got somebody called Israel who says that they're from China.
Hello,
with us today.
Really?
Yes. Are you actually in China? If you are, congratulations on breaking through into the real world, to the Western world.
The Great Firewall of China.
Yes, but obviously you might not be in China. But are you actually in China? Well, probably better not admit it because somebody will cut you off if you do.
Yes.
So maybe not reveal that, but we're glad to have you here.
Okay.
Pedro asks, and the answer to Pedro's question, will there be a class on Sunday? If you'd been here at the start, Pedro, you would have known.
Yes, if you hadn't been...
if you were here on Tuesday, you would have known.
Yes, why were you late? Come on. You have to be here at 2 p.m. because what happens is you miss all of the really important information.
You have to punish you now, Pedro.
We are here on Sunday. We will be with you on Christmas Eve, Saturday, Christmas Day, Sunday, and Boxing Day, Monday.
We might give Pedro a special Christmas present if he's here on Sunday. Flags of the world. Might be, you never know.
I would imagine
Mr. Duncan might be feeling generous on Christmas Day. He might be a little tipsy, a little drunk. And Juan asks us, what do we drink on Christmas Day? Well, normally we just have beer.
Some people have beer, some people have wine, some people have sherry or brandy. So there are spirits that you can have. When I say spirits, I mean very strong alcoholic drinks.
There we go, Mr. Duncan.
Okay, I'm just talking, Steve. So there are many. You can have spirits. So I don't mean ghosts. I mean very strong alcohol. Our background has disappeared. So that is supposed to be the road that leads into Much Wenlock.
Oh, it is a road, right.
Behind us. Well, it should be, but now it's just rain.
It's raining.
So, yes, I am in Zhejiang province, which is in China. Yes, I've heard of that place. I used to work in China. I lived in China for over 4 years, working and teaching English. That's what I did.
Well, congratulations on using your VPN, no doubt, to break through. But we won't say anything. We won't let the authorities find out what you're doing.
No.
So I hope you stay on for as long as you can.
And I hope this situation there is much better now. Now they are slowly relaxing some of the rules surrounding COVID. People were not very happy about that.
Well, the WHO are getting worried because they think there's going to be a big outbreak in China, but well, hopefully not.
But don't be alarmed, please. Mr. Steve does this a lot. He likes to make people.
Well, you see, I'm keeping up to date with current events.
Yes. Well, that's not really.
I'm not getting left behind, Mr. Duncan.
Well, saying what might happen isn't a current event.
Well, it's the news.
Yes, but it's what happens.
And it's from the WHO.
I always like to think of what actually happens is more important than what people think might happen. Because as we've found out, Steve, over the years, there are many people who say they are experts, but they know nothing about the situation. They just like to say they know, but they don't know.
A typical example of that, Mr. Duncan, is people predicting what's going to happen to the stock market.
Yes.
That is, you go onto the internet and you can read, a dozen different opinions about where so-called experts think that the stock market is going to go in the next week, in the next month, in the next year. The fact is, nobody knows, but because there are people who, and it's the same with the news, there are people who are, very visible on the media, on TV,
yes,
and they are seen as so-called experts, so they have to give an opinion, because if they don't give an opinion, it looks like they're probably not experts, so they very confidently give a prediction about what they think is going to happen,
yes,
even though there's no way they could possibly ever know. And then if one of them gets it right a year later, they'll say, I got it right, but it was just pure luck.
Yes. So I suppose in many cases you could predict anything and have a 50-50 chance of being right.
Yeah,
and
you probably could.
And you know what I'm going to say? No one forecast the big financial crash in 2008. Not one single financial expert said... Wait, I know what you're going to say. I know you're going to say people did, but they didn't. If they did, if they knew, they would have said something, but no one did. They waited until everything crashed, and then all the experts said, yes, we kind of thought this was going to happen. No, you didn't. So a lot of people were lying during that time, saying that they had predicted it, but they hadn't. No one saw it coming. Experts, quite often, have no idea what they're talking about. They just appear to. And 99% of the time they are completely wrong. And when they are right, they will talk about it forever.
And here's another example, of course, polls that come out before, or certainly before elections take place, that predict that a certain candidate's going to win or lose. I don't know why people even bother anymore. They've been wrong every time. I don't think they've ever been right, have they?
But where are you, which country are you on about?
Well, I only know, in America, in this country, polls that take place before elections are invariably wrong.
Yes, a lot of people got the Brexit vote wrong.
Yes.
A lot of people said that we would vote to remain, but the opposite happened. And a lot of people said the polling people were asking those who had an interest in politics. They were saying that Donald Trump would not become president, and he did. So I think there are many people getting it all completely wrong.
Completely wrong. Anyway, back to the subject.
We are talking about being left behind. You have to stay up to date.
Don't get left behind. Stay ahead. Stay up to date with current events.
To stay current. So there is the word that Steve just said. So when we talk about current, we are talking about things that are happening now. The flow of information, the flow of news, the flow of what is happening right now. So we talk about current events, things that are happening right now. So I'm sure all of you can think of one thing. It doesn't have to be the same thing, because of course we are we are going out to many people around the world. So in your country, there might be something happening where you are that we don't know about, but you do, because it is the current situation where you are. We mentioned Peru a few moments ago. Also in Argentina, a lot of people there getting very excited over the past couple of days. I don't know if you saw the parade for the Argentinian team.
I didn't see that, no.
It was amazing. There must have been 1 million people in the streets. I think I've witnessed many things. I've never seen so many people in one place. It was incredible.
Well, they were very pleased that their country won the World Cup. Of course, there are many, many, many reasons for that.
So there are many things happening locally. So sometimes you might be aware of things that are happening in your area, Steve, but no one else knows about it because it's just in that particular place or area or city or country. So I always find that quite fascinating.
There's another type of current, isn't there? That sounds... Here we go. We get homophones again.
Mm-hmm.
There's a fruit, isn't there? A dried fruit called a currant.
Except for it's spelt differently.
It's spelt differently.
Yes.
It's A-N-T, isn't it?
Yes. C-U-R-R-A-N-T.
So, yeah, it may sound the same, but it's spelt differently. And, of course, a currant is a dried fruit.
Yes. Normally a grape.
Probably a grape or something like that.
Or a plum. Also, the word current, spelt like this, can mean the flow of electricity as well.
Yes.
So as electricity flows, we often think of the force of electricity, especially if you are one of those poor people who have suffered an electric shock. I was electrocuted years ago as a child, accidentally. Very briefly, I touched something I shouldn't have. You know what it's like when you're young. You're always putting your fingers where they shouldn't be. And I got slightly electrocuted, and it was not very nice, I can tell you. So the word current, as that spelling there, can also mean the flow, the force of electricity, the current.
Rosa says 5 billion in Argentina. I think you probably mean million.
Yes.
I don't think there are 5 billion people in Argentina.
No, there's only 8 on the planet.
Yes, you probably mean million there, but that's still a phenomenal number of people who. And it was quite interesting listening to the reporters who were following the game. They were so excited.
Yes, they do get very excited. The commentators in Argentina are the most excitable people in the world, and they were really getting quite excited. Goal!
Beatrice says, yes, she didn't know the phrase getting left behind. Victoria says, I'm a kind of dinosaur, not very good at technology and not attracted by it. And Palmyra says, her husband got left behind. He doesn't have a smartphone. He doesn't even recognise it. Yes.
Well, yes, I think it's fair to say that does happen. There is a large proportion of the population here that don't do it.
That's right. But I think you have... I mean, I don't like to do it. And if it hadn't have been for my place of work, I don't think I would have ever bothered to get a smartphone. I know friends same age as me who haven't got a smartphone. But I think you have to at least know what's going on. Because once you get out of touch with what's going on, then you start to get old, mentally. You have to know what's going on. Change. That's the one thing I remember, Mr. Duncan, about my college days, is we had a lecturer come in to tell us about what was going to happen in the future. And it was nothing to do with the subject I was studying at the time, which was biology. But I remember him coming in saying, look, you lot here, you generation, this would have been in the early 1980s. If you remember nothing about what I'm telling you today, just remember this one thing, and I do remember it to this day: change. He said, change, you will see more change than any other generation before it. just as the next generation that comes along always sees more. And he said, if you don't adapt to that change, you will get left behind and you will become irrelevant in a modern society. And I think that's the problem. If you don't stay up to date and you get left behind, and then you disappear. And I know lots of people much older than me that are on Facebook, and they're staying in touch. That's how people stay in touch now. You've just got to accept things have changed.
Yes, I think it's interesting. It's not the number of your age, because it doesn't matter. The number of your age doesn't matter. It's actually really you, how you focus on what is happening around you, and also keeping up to date. I have to do it all the time because the technology I use here in my studio is constantly changing. There are always updates and new innovations. Things change. There are things that are slightly altered, and you have to make sure that you know that those things are happening, or else you just get left behind. And these days, it's so easy to be left behind.
Very easy, because there's always something new coming along. Something you don't have doesn't mean you have to do all the things that come along, like TikTok and what was the other one you mentioned?
Instagram.
You don't have to get involved in them, but you at least have to know that they're there and they exist. I mean, I know about them, but I'm not on about them. Of course, Lewis is one of our more senior members of regular viewers. And Lewis obviously is staying very much up to date with everything that's going on. He's on YouTube and texting and emailing and everything. And I met one of my mother's friends who was the same age as my mother. You see, my mother, God rest her soul, no longer with us. But Mum didn't stay up to date with what was going on at all. But I've met some of her friends, same age as her, and they're on Facebook. They're just sending texts, emails. They're watching things on YouTube. They admit that they're not fast at it or quick at it, but at least they're staying up to date. So they're getting information about things which they otherwise wouldn't have done. And it's just, I think it keeps your mind active. Keeps your mind active and inquisitive and interested in what's going on. Once you give up, I think, you become irrelevant in the world, really.
It is very important. I think follow the innovations. Here's the other one. Follow the innovations.
Right, sorry, yes.
No, don't worry. I like this word, by the way, innovation. We live in a world or an age of innovation. And what you said earlier is quite true, Steve, about living in the moment, being aware of those changes, never getting left behind. And also the innovations, the new ideas. And I always think that new ways of thinking, new attitudes, new technology, all of those things are new innovations. So a way of thinking, philosophy. I always think philosophy is one of those fascinating subjects where you can change, alter, talk about things, look deeply into certain subjects, and quite often you make new discoveries about people and how they think and what they want. So I like the word innovation, because innovation relates to all of the new ways of thinking, and that can be inventions from technology and the ways we use energy, for example. That is a big one. We are often talking about energy, innovations in technology surrounding that, but also the way we think, the way we see each other, the way we identify with ourselves even. So these are all new ideas.
Thank you, Rosa, who was told Israel was asking a question. We can't always answer everybody's questions, unfortunately, because sometimes the live chat is very fast moving, and we don't always have time to answer everybody's questions.
Yes, it moves quite quickly.
We are in the UK, yes.
So new ideas are often described as innovations. Oh, I like this one. You keep your finger, or sometimes we say you keep your fingers on the pulse, the heartbeat that you can feel in your wrist. So the pulse is the activity think of everything that is happening, Steve, as
staying in touch with current events.
boom, boom, boom,
In the moment.
boom, boom,
Your finger on the pulse, you know
boom, boom.
exactly what's happening. It's just not literally keeping your finger. We don't mean literally.
But the pulse
It's a synonym.
is what is happening.
It's meaning that you're in touch with what's going on right now. Just as if you had your finger on your pulse, you would know what your heart rate was doing right at that moment. And if you keep your finger on the pulse of events, it just means that you are up to date with what's going on around the world. Or in your place of work, or what's connected with your particular, say for example, I was in sales, so I need to keep my finger on the pulse about what customers are thinking, about what things that they want to buy and what they're using and things like that. It doesn't have to be just world events. It can be just in your particular sphere of influence. That's a good phrase.
Your field of expertise.
Yes.
And then we have two words that are opposite words now. So you have to observe what is new and obsolete as well. So I sometimes feel as if maybe I am obsolete. I know what you're going to say, Mr. Duncan is feeling sorry for himself again. No, I'm just saying sometimes I feel that maybe I am old and obsolete here on YouTube, because there is always something new. There is always a new thing appearing every day on this very website. And so every time something new appears, I always think maybe I become a little more obsolete.
Well, no, but you see, you're staying up to date. If something becomes obsolete, it means it becomes useless. Something that you can't use or don't need to use anymore.
Yes.
For example, FaceTime. Is that one? No, is FaceTime still around?
Yes.
So what's obsolete in the world of? CDs, musical CDs are becoming obsolete now because everyone's got digital music stored in their phones.
Maybe videotape.
Something that was useful once and is no longer useful anymore. Obsolete.
Yes.
You can describe a person as becoming obsolete as well, not just objects. You can say, you're becoming obsolete, meaning that you're useless. You're no good for anything anymore.
And of course, it's fair to say that new technology that comes along often makes human beings obsolete. And that is another thing that we are often talking about these days. Yes, robots, new technology, artificial intelligence, and all of these things are coming along. And every time there is a change or an innovation or a new invention, someone somewhere is going to lose their job.
Sash. It's a difficult word to pronounce quickly. Two words to pronounce quickly, close together, is quite difficult. Sash. Says, I find it difficult to remember spellings. Please give me some tips.
There are, I think it's just really about memorising the spelling. But even if it makes you feel better, and I'm going to reassure you now. So first of all, I'm going to say calm down about that. You don't have to worry too much about it, because even here in this country where people speak English as their first language, you will be amazed how many people make spelling mistakes.
Yes.
Or get certain words mixed up.
Of course, over time, you will get. It's just like, when you're a youngster, just like when you learnt your own language, every day or every week you learn new words, don't you? When you're at school, and then over a long period of time, your memory bank for all those different words increases. So it's really repetition, isn't it? Really writing it down. I would say, if you want to remember something, it's like when I'm having to remember the words in a song or the script in a play. If you write it down, that my singing teacher always said to me, if you want to remember a song, write it down 3 times and then act it out, what the words mean with your hands, and then you'll remember it. So if you keep writing something down, you'll remember it.
Yeah, that's what
the visual is very important.
Yes.
Your brain recognises the visual. So write the word out many times, and you will then remember it.
Well, writing uses more than one part of your brain, and
Yes.
that's why doing it, and that's with new words and also spelling. Writing things down uses more than one part of your brain, which is why it often is a good way of getting something to imprint into your brain. So I think that's probably the best piece of advice I can give, really.
You can spell the word out orally and hear it orally, but if the more senses you can engage, the better chance you've got of your brain remembering it. So writing it down, then you've got the visual, then say it, see it on a screen, and eventually it'll take time. It's not a quick process.
Never underestimate writing things down, not just because when you write it you can see it and remember it, but also the process. The brain is doing something unusual. You are doing something physical, but also you are doing something mental as well. It's going on up here, but also it's happening with your hand. It's a very, very physical thing.
Abdul Qadar says that another word for obsolete is antique.
Yes.
Yes, that could be used as a synonym.
Yes. So maybe an old thing.
Something that's old, that's not used very much anymore. So people will often joke, won't they, if you've got a phone that's maybe 5 years old,
Yes.
they'll say, oh, what's that antique?
Yes.
As a joke. It's not really that old, but in the world of technology now, a 5-year-old phone is old. It's like a 5-year-old television. That's old now because they update them every so many years.
Yes. Well, I was asked the other day about my phone. Someone said, "Is that the new iPhone?" And I said, "No, it's last year's." And they looked really disappointed, as if, oh, that's the old one. And it's only last year, for goodness sake. It's not out of date yet. But that's it. That's what technology is.
So you can use the word antique as a joke. Because normally you would think of an antique as something of being very old, like 50 or 100 years old. But you can say it as a joke to somebody.
Yes.
If their phone or their is 5 years old. So that's a bit of an antique.
Yes.
As a joke.
Yes. We might also make a joke by using the word prehistoric. Oh my goodness, that old phone, look at that. It's prehistoric. It's so old.
Yes.
It was around when the dinosaurs were walking the earth. Here's another one, Steve. Now this is another phrase that we use, the here and now. When we are in the here and now, well, as it suggests, I suppose it explains itself really. The here and now relates to this period, what is happening right now. So you are sitting there very comfortably and you look very relaxed today. Can I say you are? I just wish you had put some clothes on. That's all. But you look very relaxed there.
Yes, Darius, paper money now is increasingly being seen as obsolete.
Yes. And the funny thing is, and I said this to Steve yesterday, they're bringing out all of the new money here in the UK.
Yes. With
Prince Charles. Now, of course, King Charles, he will be on the face of the new banknotes. But I said to Steve, I said, what a waste of time. I said, no one uses money anymore. Where was the last time you actually had money, cash, paper money in your hand? So they're going to a lot of expense to remove all of the old banknotes with Queen Elizabeth on the front, and they're going to introduce new banknotes with King Charles. But I think it's quite pointless because very few people actually carry large amounts of cash.
And in fact, some places now in the UK won't even accept cash. You can't even go into some restaurants now. They won't take cash.
Yes.
Because banks are sometimes charging companies money for taking cash in and putting it into the bank.
Yes.
I mean, can you believe that? They are trying to make us a cashless society because it means that the black market, you can't just give your builder £1,000 for doing something anymore. You know, those days will be gone because it's a way of getting more tax if you stop people using cash rather than having to write a cheque.
Well, I would say because they are printing new notes with King Charles on the front, I would imagine that they're not about to do that. Even the comedian last night was selling books, and in his back pocket he had a little device that could read your cards. If you wanted to buy something there and then.
You couldn't give him cash.
No.
You had to pay on this card reader.
Yes, a little machine.
Which I believe you can now get quite cheaply.
Very, very small. It was connected to his phone. So all he had to do was just read your card and you pay, and that's it. And then later on, the cash will go to him. So he was selling these books last night. We didn't buy one last night, by the way. We kept far away as possible. So the here and now, would you say, Mr. Steve, that you are in the here and now?
More so than I've ever been.
Yes.
I think I like to stay in the here and now. Certainly in terms of news. Yeah, I think so. I think I'm fairly good with that now, Mr.
You're
Duncan.
better since you retired.
I am, that's it.
Definitely.
Yes.
Okay.
Retired.
A couple of more. And then we're going.
All right, yes. I need to go, Mr. Duncan. I've got things to do, places to go.
So here are my tips.
Your what?
My tips.
Oh, your tips.
What do you think I said?
I thought you said something else then, Mr. Duncan.
Tips. To stay up to date, here is my advice. Listen, observe, learn. That's it. So that's it.
Is this stay up to date with English, is it, Mr. Duncan?
Anything. Well,
yes,
to stay up to date with the world, politics, the news, your family. Listen, observe, learn. So you might say that the first two things will lead to the third thing. Listen to what is happening, listen to what people are saying. Observe, look at what's happening around you. Look at how people are acting or behaving towards each other or towards yourself. And then, of course, learn a new skill. You don't have to learn lots of things every day. Just spend a few moments every day learning something. Maybe it is English. Maybe it is something else. So that is my best advice for keeping up to date. Listen, observe, and learn. And finally, Mr. Steve, we often say that something is out of date if it is old. We say something is old, it is out of date, it is obsolete, it is an antique. I like that one. Well done, by the way. That thing is old-fashioned. A person can be old-fashioned, can't they?
That's it. If you're described as an old-fashioned person, you are somebody that probably at some point in your life stopped bothering to keep up to date with what's going on in the world. You maybe wear the same clothes that you had 20 years ago or 30 years ago.
Yes.
And when you buy new clothes, you buy exactly the same ones that you had before. You don't have a mobile phone. You talk in terms that would suggest that you come from a different era or a different time. An old-fashioned person is basically... I mean, there's nothing necessarily wrong with that.
No, there isn't.
We're not criticising it because I don't think that, you have to stay up to date with things. And some people, it's comforting to stay in touch with the things that they've always known. And some people, and it's good to stay in touch with that, but if you are described as an old-fashioned person, it means that you are somebody that probably hasn't kept up to date with things.
Or maybe a person who believes in traditional values, their morals, their ways of behaving. They are an old-fashioned person. They say that they believe that there are certain rules in life or in society that they follow, even though they are not fashionable. They are old-fashioned.
Old-fashioned views.
Yes.
Quite often people, for example, here's one, sex before marriage. A lot of people think and did, I mean, that's what my parents believed in. It's what their parents believed in, that this was something that people should follow. But now it is often seen as old-fashioned in a modern society.
Well,
that attitude, I mean, I'm not going to say whether I think it's one way or the other, but it's often, if you were to say, for example, if we were to go out with friends and have a discussion and somebody was to say, I think that I don't believe in sex before marriage, somebody might comment, oh, that's a very old-fashioned view. They might, but that's just an example of a particular behaviour.
Yes.
But it could be, maybe you don't keep up to date with clothes and the fashions. I mean, I don't. I'm very old-fashioned in terms of clothing.
Yeah. Well, people say nowadays that marriage itself.
Yes.
Marriage itself, the actual act of marriage, some people believe that is an old-fashioned way. So there are people now that don't even feel like they want to get married because they see it as an old-fashioned and out-of-date thing.
Many, many examples of this.
Yes, food. Food can also be called out of date if it has gone rotten, or maybe if it is unsafe to eat. We say that it is out of date.
But that's it. But that's like a technical thing, isn't it? We're talking about a slightly different meaning here, but that is another use of that word. My meat, the chicken that I bought last week is now out of date. It is 2 days outside its sell-by date. It is out of date. Old-fashioned. It's when people call you old-fashioned, it almost can be a bit of an insult at times.
Yes.
Particularly if, that's it.
But an old-fashioned person is a person who maybe they just believe in traditional ways or traditional values.
Abdel Kadar says, thank you for keeping us up to date in the English language.
Thank you very much as well.
Good use of the phrase.
Yes, and you may have noticed today we have put on our tinsel, and there is a very good reason for that, because Christmas is coming. And this weekend, I will mention it again for those who missed it, we are with you on Christmas Eve, Saturday, Christmas Day. I can't wait to see what happens there. Christmas Day on Sunday and on Boxing Day, the day after Christmas, we are with you as well. I'm not sure if that's a good idea or not, but we're going to try anyway. So we are back with you on Saturday, Christmas Eve. We will be back with you.
I don't know when I'm going to have time to wrap your presents, Mr. Duncan.
You will have time.
If we're online on Christmas Day.
You have the whole of tomorrow.
Right, I'll say goodbye first, and then I'll go and put the kettle on because I feel like a cup of tea. Lovely to be here, lovely to see you all, and see you all again on Saturday.
Well, actually, I'm going to go at the same time.
Are you?
Yes. We're going to fade away into the Christmas lights again, because
how delightful.
From this point on, Christmas is officially here, even though it isn't happening until Sunday, but we are really getting into the Christmas feel now. And definitely on Saturday, it will feel very much like the season of goodwill has arrived. This is Mr. Duncan and Mr. Steve saying, enjoy the rest of your Thursday, and I will see you, and Mr. Steve will see you on Saturday, Christmas Eve. Are you excited? I hope so. And of course, until the next time, ta-ta for now.